And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from a lovely little Westlake Village. Happy Monday. I hope you had some fun. I hope you got some rest over the weekend. I was playing all over the place with my kids, so no rest for me, no rest for me. But I wanted to start it out with the immediate price action, the 4-hour time frame, following up on the shorter term price targets we talked about last week. Any kind of a 4-hour closure below 29,993 very likely was going to get us a shot to the bottom side of the range here. Actually, I think it hit just perfectly at 29,358. A closure back above here very likely bled on to continuation to our topside target of 31.5, which is now the top side of the Gaussian channel on the weekly. I will touch on that in a bit, but what is next for Bitcoin? And here's what I would say, back above, well, if we confirm this as a higher low by closing above the green 55 at 29.7, very likely the next target will be the 618 fib or the 0.5 to be fair. But in general, what I would be looking for is, if we are going to get some upside continuation, a closure above this level, call it 33.3 to 30,120, and very likely we get one more push to the upside. And I would say it depends on what the dollar does. What is the dollar doing right now? Well, potentially putting in the fourth drive of hidden bearish divergence. So what is hidden bearish divergence? I get a lot of questions on this. How do you do that? One, you have to be able to confirm a local high. You can see two clear stop and reverse points, actually 3 coming back from that pivot way back there. And you want to see price making lower highs alongside the RSI making higher highs. So yeah, you've got it coming all the way back from this pivot right here. We're working on the fourth drive. Now, how would we confirm this as a local high? A closure back below the green 55, or if we close anywhere here or here on this 4-hour, and then the next 4-hour closes as another low below that low, that would give you the fourth drive and likely continuation, further south, at least at the bottom side of the range at 101. And that could be the catalyst for us to get that last push higher on Bitcoin. And I do want to remind you guys, if you guys haven't been to our website, bitcoinadvisors.com, there's a resource center. You click there, you click on the bullish and bearish divergence cheat sheet, and here it outlines some of the strategy that we have here, which is hidden divergences. So if you're looking for bearish divergence, it has to be in the context of a downtrend. The price is making lower highs. The RSI is making higher highs. So again, price is making lower highs alongside the RSI making higher highs. You can see 1, 2, 3 clear drives. If we take this high, which is kind of a stutter step, that would be the fourth high and could bleed on to even more continuation to the downside. But take it one level at a time. And this has not even been confirmed yet. So, again, what do we want to do is create a community of traders where we feed off each other, we help each other. So ask questions in the comments below, answer the $1 million question, $32,000 Bitcoin first or 25K first. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to find some of the hottest altcoins and the best trade setups in the market and go over all the relevant news and just perfect our craft of trading with trend, momentum, and volatility. Remember, trading is not an exact science. It's more of an art form. That being said, don't forget, like and subscribe, join the Discord, and I'm going to jump into some of the news. Again, Warren Buffett saying here, banks will go bust, but the depositors aren't going to be hurt. Essentially, what he's saying is, don't worry, we're going to have a bailout for all the depositors. And they say that could be up to $19 trillion worth of deposits, I think, on the global economy, because they're not going to let the banks fail here or anywhere else. You know, they're going to let the small regional banks fail. Everybody's going to move to the big central bank, or the big central banks. What comes after that? CBDCs, central bank digital currency, which is how Raul Paul was saying last week. They're going to usher in the central bank digital currency. Everybody, the regional banks are going to fail. They're going to move to the big banks. And then the Fed's going to say, guess what, guys? This is how you're going to do things. It's called CBDC, where we track your money. And I think that'll be the next catalyst to push Bitcoin even higher, because more and more people are going to wake up to the fact that the government doesn't have their best interest at heart. And Bitcoin is freedom of finance for everybody in the world. Anyways, back on to what I think is looking, unless this confirms on the 4-hour, right? We want to see the 4-hour close above here. If we do see a 4-hour closure back above this region right here, I'm looking for a minimum shot up to the 618, which is going to be right here at 30,057. If we do close above there, I would call this a bear trap, and I would look for continuation higher on Bitcoin price action. Additionally, I'll follow up on the 5-day time frame. Now, just by ticking below yesterday's low, typically you get a free ride down to the bottom side or the 9. However, this failed on this analogy. This time last week we did, or about a month ago. And price action just continued onwards and upwards. What's on our side? If you are bullish still, the Gaussian channel on the weekly time frame, we have not exactly hit the top side yet, but the old saying is close enough is close enough. This was a bullish candle close, looking for continuation this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin pulls one out and does start to rally higher. Where would I say that idea is pretty much failed is if the daily closes back below 28.8. If you're more conservative, 28.5, but I think that's probably good enough for me. 28.8 to the downside. Now, that's it for Bitcoin. I do want to touch on Ethereum, which has done the same thing on the daily time frame. Kind of goosing the odds in the favor of the bears, playing out a bit of a bounce here. The 4-hour giving us a chance to confirm a local low, but essentially, as long as we were below this green box, I would say continuation of the downside is more likely at the moment. We still have the weekly Gaussian channel coming in much higher, up at now a bit lower side of a target here at 2,300. So I think we can move that down slightly. And I do think in general that Ethereum's probably still going to do whatever Bitcoin does. And where does invalidation for the head and shoulders come? Well, back below 1,800 bucks. And I would say that was a failed inverted head and shoulders rally. However, hope is not lost yet. So a lot's going to depend upon the dollar. We did say on the daily time frame, very likely going to get a bounce. Why? Why is that? Well, we have our first, first bit of a hidden lower low. You count the red candles as the low, not the green. So we do have one lower low. So one drive gets you a shot to the 9 and 2 drives to the 21, 3 up to the green 55. So maybe it flops around one more time, puts in one more lower low, and then drives up there. So again, not all hope is lost yet. And the stock market has flipped bullish for the day. NASDAQ has already hit our target, and the next target would be mediated with any kind of a closure above that wick right there, and we would stair step it up right up to this level right here. So that is our secondary target coming in with this high right here. The S&P looks like it is inching its way up to our target, which is 40. It's pretty amazing what a bounce it's put in. 4,230 on the S&P, and the Dow target is up there at, as we do have hidden bullish divergence, which again, price is making 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drives typically gets you a bit more. Actually, it is off of this high to low up to the 1618, which is first shot is to the top. Yeah, it's right in line with this target right here. And we did call this one out, I think, way back here. So looking for a little bit more on the Dow, which has been stronger than the rest of the market, as it did almost make its way back to its all-time high on that spike right here. So another question everybody's asking, when alt season, when are the altcoins going to row? We've been talking about the recipe for that. Starting out with Bitcoin dominance, any kind of a closure back below this low. And very likely that's going to goose the odds in the favor of alts starting to rally. But what do we need to see in tandem with that? We need to see the tether dominance breakdown. We broke down below the first target. Alts ran here. The second target it needs to get below is this guy right here. We need a closure below there for alt season game on rally. And this is going to confirm several drives of hidden bullish divergence today if we close anywhere here or higher, and likely does not benefit altcoins if people are selling their altcoins and going into tether. First target is the top side of the range here, and I would say that's coming in at 7%. So still a lot of work to do there. We covered the dollar, Dixie, Ethereum. Let's check out some of the hotter altcoins even today. Some altcoins giving a bit of a run. Fetty Wap coin, as we call it, is going to be putting in a bit of a rally. 2 drives, actually, I would call it 1, 2, 3 drives. So shot to the top side of the range is not out of the cards. I'd be looking for a move or continuation drive up to the top side of the range, coming in, maybe a little bit lower right there, which is still a pretty healthy percentage gain if we close anywhere here or higher today. So 12% is fair game right now. Let's see if that lines up with the 618 fib. So already tagging the, 618, nice symmetry right there. Want to close above this one to get to the 618, but getting a healthy green candle with not a whole lot of volume. So we've still got another couple of days on this one. In general, I wouldn't be looking to buy the higher high. I'd be waiting for the next higher low. So something like this, let it put in a higher high than at least these highs on a closing basis, preferably up here, and then come down in line somewhere with this green 55, and that would be your next major higher low. And that is not very, uncommon for us to run up to the 618, back to the 382, and then pick it up from there if this coin is going to continue to rally. So that's that for Fetty Wap coin. Render looking a bit more bullish as we did reclaim the 618, got a shot back to the 100 percentile there. And any kind of a daily closure back above this pivot right here. I don't know why I just clicked on that. Rendering some good information for us today, as it was up like 16% at one point here, but still looking for a daily back above here. And that very likely bleeds on to continuation. There'll be a lot of divergence coming in from this point right here, as price will still be making lower highs, but the RSI is making higher highs. But this is looking good for a little bit of continuation, at least into tomorrow. Provided Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of trudge their road to happy destiny sideways and up. Again, Ethereum looking a bit toppy here, but getting picked up on the 4 hour. It's too close to call. Again, above this box for Ethereum, good. And generally, when Ethereum starts to run, that's when you'll see the altcoins run. But again, this is going to be the 4-hour range on Ethereum for the next move. I'd be looking for this target to get hit. And, excuse me, this to be the secondary target coming in at 21,997 right there. And if we close a 4-hour below here, all we do is flip this around. And that would give you your secondary target to the downside if we close anywhere there or lower. So nice 4-hour range right here, and a break above or below likely kind of bleeds on into a test of this trend line at least. And as long as we hold this trend line, I think would be good for Ethereum continuing onwards and upwards to the top side of the weekly Gaussian channel, which is all the way up here. Now it is coming down slightly lower. So target, reconfirmed down at 2,300. And I still think there is a chance for that in the cards. Before we get that major pullback, you remember the old saying is, something about buy in April and go away in May. That has been the great old saying. I totally butchered it there, but essentially summer months tend to be a little bit slower, and May tends to be a pullback month for Bitcoin. However, when April is a positive month, it does goose the odds in favor of the bulls. So it looks like we are going to get a positive month here. Bringing us back to the CME Fed Watch tool. Now it's at 86% chance we're going to get a 25 basis point rate hike coming into May 3rd. And then some of the economic data. Tuesday, we got building. Again, this is myfxbook.com. You can click on the calendar here, economic calendar, get the week ahead of economic data. So nothing for Monday, really. Tuesday, the standout is building permits, housing, and housing starts. Wednesday's a bit of a nothing day. And then you've got Thursday, which is going to be the biggest day of the week, where we get jobless claims and existing home sales month over month, and existing home sales for March. If those numbers are bearish for the dollar, come in lower than expected, well, that would be goosing the odds in the favor of the bulls. I do think Bitcoin has about a week this week. If it is going to pick itself up by its bootstraps, put in a higher low somewhere near the daily breakout level, which is going to be coming in right here. Somewhere between 28.5 and 28.8. So that is pretty much it for today, guys. Lastly, on Friday, you have global services PMI for the S&P 500. That is the S&P global services and manufacturing. And what else did I want to bring up? The Kobisi letter, putting in a pretty interesting tweet here in line with more banking failures. So Treasury Secretary Yellen just said that sanctions on Russia and other countries are putting the US dollar at risk. The Bitcoin dominance, the US dollar has been challenged 20 plus times over the last month. Multiple countries are now trading in the Chinese yuan. Meanwhile, the banking crisis has people challenging the system. The US dollar is facing its biggest threat in decades. Nice little percentage of global reserves. As you can see, the euro is taking ahead of the dollar right now. I'd have to fact check that one, but something to put on the notes there. And lastly, on the 28th this month, so about 2 weeks away from the 28th, we will get the final numbers for the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Inflation Report, whatever you want to call it. But year-ahead inflation expectations rose drastically last week from 3.6% in March to 4.6% in April. That is why the dollar bounced. So if inflation is expected to go up by consumers. Well, that is the psychological part that the Fed does not want to get out of hand. And that's why it looks like we are going to get that rate hike of 25 basis points going into May 3rd. So we got May 3rd, the 28th, and then Thursday, the big day this week. And the battle lines to be held for Bitcoin and the short-term opportunity for Bitcoin to pick itself up by its bootstraps. You know, again, a closure back above this level very likely gets us into that green box, and we can say bull trap or bear trap or not. Are we going to trap the bulls or the bears? Put a comment in the list below. I'd be interested to see what your guys' sentiment is. Other than that, I'm going to sign out wishing you guys a happy, blessed, and highly favored week. It is Monday, and we've got a new week with more opportunities. Take care. Signing out.